Good afternoon. I'm Shauna Leiden. I'm the race director of the Ellison Park Cyclocross Festival. I'd like to welcome everyone here today to Full Moon Vista. We're very pleased to have such a distinguished group of people who attended, and we want to thank you all for taking the time to be here. To start things off, I'd like to introduce Scott Page. He's the executive director of the festival, and he's going to start off by giving us some background.
Thank you very much, everybody, for coming. I'm going to start off just by, I had a great conversation with one of the guests today, and we talked about timing, and sometimes timing's everything. And this event's been growing for a long time, and you kind of got to build all the pieces of it. You got to have the infrastructure of building your city or your stadium, and then you got to have the amazing athletes, and then lastly comes the spectators. And you got to get it in the right order. And we were talking about how cool this is because we're ready finally. We're ready to really launch this thing and let it go crazy because all the pieces are in place. So it's a very exciting time, and I'm so pleased that we have the guests that we do today because we've got some amazing people, and it's wonderful. So first and foremost, I just want to talk a little bit about what has happened with this event. It's been awarded Class 1, and there's all different levels in cycling. You basically start off your event as a local event, and it goes regional if you're lucky enough. Goes into beyond regional, maybe you can go to national, and then if you can get it big enough, it goes international. And international starts at what's called Class 2. And we've been Class 2 for 4 years now. Started out as a one-day event for a couple of years, and then it graduated to 2 days, and now it's went Class 1. And Class 1's it's a pretty big endeavor to graduate to. There's only a handful of these in the United States, and we were very fortunate that we were able to get this to that level. And somebody was asking me the other day about a previous event we did years ago in the city of Rochester that did really well. It was a nighttime event, and this event has actually eclipsed that. This is at a higher level than what that ever was. So we're very humbled that the governing body chose Rochester out of the 50 states. There's only 9 of them that have an event like this. So we're very excited about that. So the journey's been long. We started out with about 65 riders the first year we had this event, 7 years ago. Not very many riders. This year we should get somewhere around 800 to 1,000. So it's grown very fast. We're also really fortunate that the schedule's changed, and now we're in early October. The reason it got moved is because there's some events out there that are doing a great job. One's in Gloucester, Massachusetts, and the other's in Providence, Rhode Island, and we're right after those 2 events. The one in Providence is kind of our benchmark in racing right now. They're going to have about 2,700 riders this year and 20,000 spectators. They're about 2 years ahead of us, so that's where we're headed. We've actually teamed up with that event, and we're working together. We do some things that they don't do, and they do some stuff we're not. So it's kind of nice to have a collaborative effort, and we're putting everything together to hit a home run, not only for us and for our community, but for the other ones as well. I do want to talk about the athletes that are coming, but I'm not gonna, because I'm going to leave that for one of our guests that you guys will love to hear from later. He'll tell you more about, on a first-hand basis, about how amazing these athletes are, and himself. The course, I'll talk a little bit about that. Ellison's a very unique park. It's absolutely beautiful, and the racers that come here are quite amazed by it. It has its own natural amphitheater, which for us as a race promoter and for all the people that put this on, it's a really nice way for the spectators to be able to see the sport a little different than some. You basically can see about 70% of the event right in front of your eyes. So we're very fortunate that we just have this beautiful park with these old trees and this great terrain. It's very challenging for the racers. Some of them get a little angry about it, which I'm okay with. It's very challenging. It's got a lot of elevation to it, a lot of natural features, and guys walk away saying, wow, this was a big effort to be able to race here. A lot of the courses are a little flatter, so we kind of stand out where this is a little more aggressive. The other thing I want to talk about quickly is we do have some new features this year. We've got a new title sponsor, or presented by sponsor, which is Trek Bicycles. Very happy about that. It's been a long conversation we've had, and we're happy to have them involved. They're the largest bicycle company in the world, and they were the ones that we really wanted to have involved. We do trek at our bike shop, so we wanted to kind of pull that all together, and they saw that vision, and we're off to hopefully a very good future with them. So we're really excited about that. We have introduced a new Belgium staircase this year, which is kind of a neat feature for the athletes to go over, and part of cyclocross. We can get into this later, but cyclocross is a very aggressive sport. It's a lot of fun. It's part man-made obstacles that the riders go over, and part that they just have to ride over the terrain that you put in front of them. So we're always kind of introducing new things for the spectators to watch and for the riders to have fun with. We are going to have an expanded Rohrbox beer garden this year. Rohrbox has been a longtime sponsor of ours, and John Erlob and the people over at Rohrbox are wonderful, and they've been with us since the start, and we're really excited to have them still here. We're going to have a great time with them this year. So then I want to talk about a new event we're going to have this year, which is at Brown Square Park, and it's the new Rochester Twilight Cyclocross race. Brown Square Park, if you don't know where that is, it's over by the stadium, Frontier Stadium, and has a beautiful parking lot that's enormous. It's right next to it, so it's really easy to get to, great to park. And this event is kind of, it's very tight. We put it in a small park on purpose. It's going to be really exciting. The pros will ride at night, and the amateurs will ride during the day. And we wanted to reintroduce something, Twilight, and this was the perfect venue for that. The neat thing is that we're kind of capitalizing on a lot of these riders coming in from around the country, around the world, and what they're going to do is they'll come in on Tuesday, they'll race on Wednesday, then they have a couple days to lay over in Rochester before the big race on Saturday and Sunday. So we're really psyched about having a Twilight, and the city of Rochester was really excited about trying to put this on. So got some good things coming your way, and I want to thank you very much. We're on to the next speaker.
Thank you, Kenna. Next, I'd like to introduce Maggie Brooks, our county executive. She and her administration have been longtime supporters of the event, and we're really happy to have her here today.
So if I heard correctly, beer and bicycles. I heard two things that I really like, so that is great. I just want to say that, thank you, first of all, to everybody that's been involved in this. Certainly it takes a champion to bring an event like this to our attention, to bring the tradition of cycling to this community. And Scott has been such an amazing advocate and ambassador for all things cycling. And it's because of his tenacity and perseverance and enthusiasm, quite honestly, that we are able to stand up here and talk about great festivals like the one that will be in Ellison Park. Thrilled that the park, one of our great parks, is going to be the backdrop for a portion of the festival because it not only puts us on the map for local people who will come to the event, but also people from around the country and around the world. So that's great. A couple of people I'd like to mention. Steve Hausman is here. Steve is the chair of our Sports Commission Board. And our Sports Commission, their job is to make sure that we are highlighting and focusing on Alaki, who is works at our Sports Commission, also involved in all of those activities, and we want to thank him as well. And Don Jeffries. Don just smiles at these events. He doesn't have to say a word. He just needs to smile because this really does open up what Rochester is all about to a lot of different people. And anytime we can do that, I think our quality of life is better and our community is better because of it. So we're really, really grateful. The Monroe County Sports Commission, if I understand correctly, actually the Twilight Criterium was one of the first events that our Sports Commission actually sponsored and stepped up to support. And it's really a sign that we have a community that understands and supports sporting activities. We talk about arts and culture all the time in Rochester and Monroe County, but really we are a sporting community in so many different ways. So I just want to thank everyone involved. I want to encourage everyone in Rochester to tell your friends, come out and support the event in October. You're going to be hearing a lot more about it. But this is just great for tourism, but it's also great for our own self-image. I think people here in Rochester and Monroe County get excited when we can do something unique. I believe this is one of only Sports Commission, proud to partner with our friends in the city of Rochester, and it's just going to be a great time, a win-win for everybody, so thank you.
Thanks very much. Next, we're so pleased to have our Deputy Mayor Len Reedon here. As the event is expanding to the city, we're looking forward to a great partnership with them as well.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here. And I tell you, it's great to have another new event coming to the city of Rochester, particularly since it'll be so approximate to downtown. Actually, I'll live about 4 blocks away from where the Brown Square event will happen, the Twilight, so I'm particularly looking forward to it. Cyclocross will give us an even greater opportunity to be able to showcase what Rochester is to those from across the country as well as from around the world. And cycling is something that we are very aggressively attempting to promote in the city of Rochester, putting in more and more cycle lanes throughout the city and trying to make the overall environment here more cycle friendly. Another thing that's so important is that there will be a number of businesses across the city of Rochester and across the county who will be able to extend their business because of the number of participants that will be coming as well as the spectators. And that's particularly heartening to us in the city where we're trying to drive more and more economic development. We'd like to thank the organizers of the event. We'd like to thank the sponsors of the event because we know what it takes to make these things go. Maggie said something that I thought was very interesting. Essentially, we'll make the best of this and make sure that this community receives and enjoys all the visitors that we have coming here, and we will make sure it is as hospitable as we possibly can. I think the nicest time of year in the Rochester area is early October, so this will be wonderful. Again, congratulations and thank you very much. This is a big deal for the city.
As Scott mentioned before, we're really excited about our new partnership with the presenting sponsor, Trek Bicycle.
Probably 5 or 6 years ago at a cycling event, and was talking to him a little bit, and that was one of the last years that they had done the Rochester Twilight Criterium. And I remember riding my bike down there and watching the event and thinking, this is absolutely fantastic. And as a local resident of the cycling community, after the event was over, everybody kind of felt a loss in the community that event was no longer around. This event and cyclocross racing, the growth that we've seen is absolutely fantastic. And it's so great to have a key event like this back in Rochester and support this event and really push to growing it. As a Trek employee, obviously it's great to have such a big event here in my backyard and know so many people and really, put my heart into helping to make this grow a great event. Trek as a company is committed to cyclocross racing. It's one of the fastest growing sports in USA cycling. I think in the last 3 or 4 years, the participation has increased 7-fold. So there's just some absolute fantastic growth. And to have a C1 event and to be the presenting sponsor here on the East Coast is just something.
So last but not least, we are really thrilled to introduce Jeremy Powers, who's the current U.S. National Men's Elite Cyclocross Champion. Made the trip on the way home from Louisville, so I'd like to bring him up and have him talk a bit.
Thank you all very much for coming out. I guess I'm here on behalf of the racers. As Scott had said before, these events take a catapult. And had I not met Scott just a couple of weeks ago on the phone, and I could hear his enthusiasm. I had met Shauna a long time ago at a organizers meeting in Louisville, Kentucky, and I knew how much they were learning The racers, this is exciting because our trek, the beginning of our season starts in Las Vegas, and then it goes to Madison, Wisconsin at the trek headquarters. Then it comes back here, and we're in Gloucester, Massachusetts. We're in Providence, Rhode Island, and then we get to come right up here to Rochester, and then we continue on with our season. But to have these 3 weekends consecutively, from a racer standpoint, it's really valuable in the international points, and for the ability for us to just continue to just race, just for the, just for that passion, for this opportunity to have such a big event here. So I know that I look forward to all the spectators that'll come out, and I hope that we're able to see you out there, and I hope that we're able to shake some of your hands and put on some good racing for you. So, thanks.
So that kind of wraps us up here. I'll finish by saying that it was kind of neat. Rich Mackey and Scott Bell from Monroe County Sports Commission, which you guys have been wonderful, by the way. From the cycling community, who would you pick? And I was like, probably this guy Jeremy Powers. I'd probably pick him. And so Scott's like, well, why don't you just give him a call? Like, that's easy to do. So anyway, but it ended up being easy to do because he was wonderful to deal with. And so thank you very much for making the trip. It was not an easy trek for him to get here starting at 4 a.m. this morning. We are going to have a meet and greet with Jeremy tonight over at Warbox in the city. That's from 6:30 to 8:30. If anybody wants to come, feel free. Come out and have a good time with us. It's a very casual atmosphere. We're just going to have some fun and talk to Jeremy about cyclocross and some different things. I also want to speak quickly about, we are going to have some events that are going to fill in the gap between the Wednesday twilight cyclocross race and the weekend. We're going to have an event at Roarbox. That's going to be really neat. I'm not going to talk about it now, though, because you got to go to the website and find out what that is. We're going to try to fill in some cycling events in the meantime on that Thursday and Friday. I think we're going to have a really neat cyclocross clinic down at Ellison Park on Friday by some other pros in the United States that might come out and do that. So we're going to have some nice stuff. We're going to make it a whole week worth of cycling. I know that the bike clubs are getting more involved now, Rochester Bicycling Club and the Genesee Valley Cycling Club. So we're going to really try to expand this and make it a great week. So in closing, I just want to thank some people. Thank you very much, Maggie, for coming today. It was wonderful to see you and very nice for you to come. Len, I did not know that you were such a comedian, but you are great. That's fantastic. Thank you very much for coming, and I'm so psyched with the city being part of this. The Monroe County Park staff, Larry Staub, Lisa Nicolay, Ryan Loyson, Mark Quinn, have all been wonderful with this event. They really understand it. I don't know how many people realize that biking's not really legal in county parks. So these guys have been fantastic about making this happen from years ago. We had some pretty big walls that were up in front of us, and they knocked them down. It wasn't me. They understood the event and they paved the way. And without those parks people right from the beginning saying, let's do this, it wouldn't have happened. So really excited that they've kind of made this happen. Christine Christopher and Margaret Reichert from the city of Rochester, they're wonderful and they see the vision here. Jamie Cronkrate, thanks for coming out today from Trek. And lastly, my wife Kim, wherever Kim is, couldn't do this without you. And the Full Moon Vista staff, all of you were wonderful. Todd Shesky, Shane O'Leary, John Coyle, Shauna. Obviously, couldn't do this without Shauna being the race director and the 8,000 other jobs that she does. So that's about it for today. Thank you very much for coming, and appreciate your time.